Okay, guys, welcome to the Second Coming podcast. We're back again. Today's going to be crazy. We're here with the host,
Cassidy Aerosmith, and
me, 1692. So I'm going by digits because I'm an entity, and that's what I like to do. So we're going to talk about some crazy shit today. We're going to try and keep it real. We're going to make people think outside the box. Okay, we're going to break some of the belief systems and a lot of the rattling and babbling people have about big subjects.
Let's talk about green people and more talk about
Green people and Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's say that an extraterrestrial made contact with Earth today, with humans here on Earth today. Let's don't care what he looked like. Let's don't care where he came from. Let's don't care what his message was. None of this stuff, okay? Or let's say Jesus came back today. A Messiah figure came back today. Okay. Let's talk about the important things, okay? Because I don't think people get to have a real conversation about this. Are there protocols in place for governments to deal with this? Is it a serious subject?
Yeah.
Right. What would people do? Would people react? How would they react? Would government fall apart? Would peace fall apart? Would there be denial? Would people believe it? That's the big thing. Would people even believe? Because I think people want to know about aliens. People want to know about the Messiah, the second coming of Jesus, all these things, God, how this works. I don't necessarily believe that anyone would believe it if it was in their face. So there's a problem.
Well, you already know how the government is with that. They make a joke out of it for so long. How do people even...
Yeah, take it serious.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's say an alien came here. You know what? Let's just lump it together. Let's say it's an alien Jesus, okay? We'll kill two birds with one stone. So religious leaders around the world actually believe at the top tier. I'm not talking about your average priest in a church somewhere or a pastor at your family church. I'm talking about the top theologians in the world, okay? They actually believe that when the Antichrist shows up, for the Christian religion, right? Or Jewish. So when that Antichrist shows up, that he will have alien origins or claim he is of alien origin. He's outside of this system. Okay?
Yeah, so that's the definition of alien we're going by?
Well, that's where it gets convoluted. So people want to think that aliens come from outer space. But I mean, we're all in outer space, so I don't even know what that means. But he's definitely outside of the system that we believe in here on Earth. Okay.
All of Earth.
Sure. So when he shows up, what is that going to mean? So theologians take it seriously. The United Nations, the UN takes it seriously. They have protocols set up for first contact. For anyone who shows up, the NSA, you can go to nsa.gov, you can see the white papers on it. They actually have a protocol and a way to test what they believe how extraterrestrials would actually contact us, or a language, and that structure, the mathematical constants and the languages they would use. So, I mean, they take it very seriously. They have a system in place for that. And I don't think the general public has any idea of what they mean. So they search for aliens, and the search for aliens and extraterrestrial intelligence, alien is just anything alien from what we believe in, okay? So let's say they're listening for extraterrestrial intelligence, okay? Well, what does that mean? Does it mean something outside of the system or outside of their social systems, their constructs, right? So the problem they have is that extraterrestrials aren't going to be little green guys and little gray guys. That's for movies. They take on those attributes. A little gray man with big eyes, obviously, is supposed to be your brain, a little gray matter, right? Yeah. And then like the reptilians, right? So these are like, the reptilian part of your brain. Are they going to just be primal? Is it just like some crazy guy running around hacking people up, not giving a shit? there's all these different takes on it, but it's all personality traits and metaphor and analogous use. So let's do this. Let's say that an extraterrestrial Messiah shows up. The only way he'll be able to prove it is if he knows something we don't know here on Earth. Okay. So if he understands something that people don't understand on Earth, then that could be used as proof that he is extraterrestrial. He is outside of the system. He knows something that we don't know in this system here on Earth. Okay? Now, sorry, I'm so addicted to coffee I can't stop. So, would the average person believe that? Well, no, because the average person doesn't understand any of this. They're used to a Netflix idea of aliens, or what they like to pretend aliens are, or I think they're going to be these Pleiadians who are super sweet blonde people and nice, or I don't know what the hell they believe in. But the truth of the matter is that it's someone who understands the math and physics of the universe and has answers that we don't have, and can think outside of the construct of reality that they have built here on Earth.
And that's how Jesus is getting lumped into
Sure.
being an alien?
Yeah, a Messiah figure. Someone that can save the people from the enslavement they're in, right? So let's say a Messiah figure shows up, right? And he goes, I'm just going to throw one out there. Let's just make one up real quick. So a Messiah figure shows up and he goes, hey, all of the Muslim people are oppressed, and I can show you how. It's encoded into the Bible, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now he's a Messiah for the Christians. He's a savior. He's going to save all the Christian people and show them, hey, look, this is how it works. But to the Muslims, he's the Antichrist. Okay. Same guy shows up and goes, hey, man, I can show you that you're all enslaved. It's right here in the Quran. It's encoded. I can show you. And he shows you how it's encoded. It's perfect. And it says all the Christians are enslaved, right? So he's now the Muslim Messiah, and he's the Christian Antichrist. Right. Okay, get it?
Yeah.
Okay, same guy. Now, let's say that guy shows up and he goes, hey, I can show you how both sides are enslaved. It's all encoded right here. I can show you how it works. Well, now, what is he?
Just the Antichrist.
Well, I don't know. So I know what's going to happen. They will say that he's the Antichrist. They will say that he is the extraterrestrial. They'll say he's the, whatever. But they can't refute it. He has the authority of the scriptures on both sides. And he knows the mathematical workings of this, system. And so, what would happen? Would the people say, oh, no, get rid of him? Or, oh, no, we believe him, get rid of everything else? Yeah, the whole system collapses, right? So therefore, the system they've created is built in a way that aliens cannot show up. A Messiah cannot show up. Because if he does, they're going to deny him, right? It happened before, right? And then they'll just say that he's not. They'll kill him, and then they'll put in their own and say, oh, the good guy's here now. We got rid of the bad guy, now here's the good guy, right? Right. So what do you think it would take to make people believe that an extraterrestrial was here? What do you think? What would make them believe it?
That's a tough one. It depends on what we're saying people are. People have to have an open mind first. So maybe that's it. People have to have open minds to be able to even have the idea that aliens or Jesus are connected, or that aliens are real, or that there's anything outside of whatever their system is.
Well, I'm not sure what it would take to make people believe that there's something other than what they've been taught. So let's use an example. If you believe that the sun goes up and down every day, and you believe that we go around the sun, right? I'm just making this up, but let's just say you believe that we go around the sun and the moon goes around us, right? And you believe that red is red and blue is blue, and dogs and cats and stuff, and you believe in water and air and all this stuff. Okay, that's great. And you can talk in a language that's been created for you. Okay, you believe that. Okay. But what if you were shown that that's not true? Okay. Would you believe it, or would you deny it and keep going with what you thought was real?
Well, if you're shown the truth, wouldn't you just know it as truth?
Well, that's what you would think, but that's the point of this whole podcast, was that Jesus showed up and showed the truth one time. That's the story, right?
Right.
And everybody denied it. Right. So even when shown the truth, would people believe it? Right. Or would they just go with what they like? So that was the big conversation that we had earlier, was if you showed a people the truth and they didn't like the truth, would they just continue to believe the lie because it's more comfortable?
Well, you already know that we had the conversation before about how people like living in the simulation. We know that macaroni and cheese is not food, yet people choose to believe it's food.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, that's true. What did we say the other day? Somebody was like, well, I don't care about anything. I love bacon. You're not going to take bacon away from me. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, man. It's just a piece of pig skin.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to eat that. That's crazy.
People argue over drinking water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never mind aliens. So that's where I'm like, what level of people are we talking about? Are we talking about everyday people? Are we talking about people that like to research? Are we talking about whatever the higher class of people is?
Well, that's what I was wondering. So we get to this thing and everybody worries about whether it's some kind of slavery issues, racism issues, classism issues. But when does it get to an intellectual level? So the question I have is this. If we're searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, or the average Christian's waiting on a Messiah, a Christian, a Christ to return, or any of these things, wouldn't that be pure intelligence? But if we're searching for pure intelligence, why is everyone so comfortable being taught things that aren't intelligent? Right? Like, let's say that you wake up every day and you eat lasagna and drink Pepsi. Okay? Well, that's very unintelligent. And then you go watch a TV show about how you want to meet an extraterrestrial. Well, the first thing the extraterrestrial would say is, why the hell are you putting that in your body? Right? So it's a weird conundrum. It's like a double-edged sword, you know? It goes along with, I think we had a conversation yesterday with an artist that was local here. And that artist was all about believing in whatever he liked, right? He's like, well, I don't care what anybody says. I like this. You know, whether it was lifestyle or food or partying or, you know, his sexual preferences or whatever he was into. And I'm like, that's great. But if we're seriously intelligent beings, and you hear people say it all the time, oh, octopus are so smart, dolphins are so smart. I'm like, I haven't seen a fucking octopus or a dolphin build a fucking airplane.
Right.
You know, right. Okay, I have seen people do it. So people are intelligent. They're the most intelligent thing on the planet, right? So our goal is to be intelligent, okay? A fucking gorilla will beat you to death. A dog will eat you, okay? We are not very tough, okay? A little tiny snake can take you out. A little scorpion take you out, right? But what we are is very intelligent. So I wonder if the intelligence isn't being dumbed down by a true intelligent force that's already here. So
what would the purpose of that be?
Well, slavery. So the true slavery would be to dumb the people down, make it to where they enjoy eating bad food so they're not healthy, make it enjoy learning stupid things that waste their time, make it comfortable and fun and happy so they can never get to greatness, right? Okay. And then take everything from them, resources, right? All the gold, all the power, all the technology, all the good food, all the health benefits. You know, I don't think that an extraterrestrial showing up or a messiah figure from any religion is going to be believed. And I don't know as if people would even know what to believe. You know, we have the media right now, which shows you things that aren't true every day, and people believe that. And then you can't even believe your own eyes. You know, with AI right now, all the things that are video, you don't even know if you're watching a real person or if you're just watching a computer. So I don't know what that would be. And I watch all religious people, all pseudo intellectual, you know, professors and whatever you have now at universities. And then I watch people at the top of their game in their field, right? All vying to have an opinion on this subject, but none of them taking it seriously, right? Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of the extraterrestrial messiah conversation being used as comedy relief and distraction, right? There's not a human I've ever met that hasn't seen UFO stuff on TV and talked about it, right? Okay. Well, let's just go back to my generation, and let's say when I was a kid, they talked about Bigfoot in the woods, or Loch Ness Monster, or all of these things, right? Well, now we all know that this is 100% not true. Okay, 100%.
Right.
We literally have satellites that can scour every forest in the United States. There's nothing there. Okay, they can tell you exactly how many deer from a computer. They can count how many chipmunks are on a mountain. Okay, so there's no Bigfoot. All right, there's no Loch Ness Monster. We can tell you if there's a ping pong ball laying on the bottom of the Mariana Trench in the ocean. Okay. So there's no Loch Ness Monster, all right? And the same thing applies to outer space. We know there's nothing out there, and they keep talking about it. And so what is the purpose? Well, what if the extraterrestrial intelligence is bodiless? So intelligence weighs nothing. Let's do an experiment. Okay, so let's say you have a thumb drive for a computer, right? Those little thumb drives that plug in. Okay, you weigh that thumb drive and it weighs 0.7 grams, let's just say. Empty. Okay, you buy it from Best Buy, it weighs 0.7 grams, got nothing on it. Okay. Now I'm going to download all the movies, all the books, all the music, all the information in the world onto that thumb drive, okay, from my computer. I'm going to weigh it again. It doesn't weigh anymore. It weighs 0.7 grams still. But now it has all the information in the world in it, right? That's because information doesn't weigh anything. It has no mass. It's massless, all right? Therefore, the only way intelligence can be used on this planet is to be installed into a computer, okay? Be it a biological computer, a human body, or a synthetic computer, silicone-based piece of technology. So if you have that, that could be the entity, intelligence, right? Could be the entity. Now, whether that intelligence is malevolent or benevolent, I mean, that's up for grabs, right? Good or bad, whatever. But the point is that intelligence could come here. If I send you a movie right now from my phone to your phone, you're right here, sitting right across the table from me. If I send you a movie, you get it on your phone. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to do this. Try to see if you can grab it in the air before it gets to your phone. Where is it? How did it just go from my phone to your phone? Okay, it's got sound, it's got movie, it's got pictures, it's got all this stuff, right? How did it just get to your phone instantaneously? And now you can enjoy it and watch it and learn from it and listen to it. Okay, so I think that what they're doing is they're looking for an intelligent entity that is literally bouncing from body to body. Intelligence. So ideas, thoughts, intelligence, that's what they're trying to capture. They're looking for extraterrestrial intelligence. They're not looking for an extraterrestrial body. There is no such thing. So we already know.
So is there something that's dishing it out, or is it?
Yeah, I believe we call it God. It's data, the universe, all potentiality. Everything that can be known is in the universe. And so it's up to you to take that potentiality, calculate it. You're a human calculator. Use your brain to calculate it, and then take that, process the information, and be able to use it, right? But you don't. Instead, you take the information they give you and use that and believe it. Now, that's scary. So, I think if what they're truly looking for are thoughts, which is why they want all of this data. They want to be able to record every conversation, every thought, read your mind, track your movements, track what you do, all these things, because they're looking for extraterrestrial intelligence. They're looking for someone who's smart outside of the system they've built. If they told you every day that cows are great food, right?
Yeah.
But then you're really intelligent and you think different than other humans, and you start, doing a little science by yourself, and you realize, oh shit, cows are actually poisonous, which I hope not, because I love cows, but they taste great. But you find out that, oh my God, the human body's not supposed to eat cows.
Pigs might be a better example.
Oh yeah, pigs are a great example. Never eat a fucking pig. So you now are going against their system, and they want to find that intelligence and kill it. They have too much money on the line. They're like, no, just like Jesus, right? They're like, no, this guy's got to go. He knows way too much. He's outside the system. He knows what we're doing here. We got to get rid of this guy. And then they ask the average people, they say, hey, who do you want us to kill? Do you want us to kill Jesus, or do you want us to kill Barabbas? That's the story, right? And he's like, well, what did Jesus do? And he's like, well, Jesus never did anything wrong. And they're like, well, what did Barabbas do? Oh, he's a liar, he's a killer, he's all these things, right? And they're like, oh, let Barabbas go. He's one of us, right? So you have to think, do the people want more dumb because they're going to enjoy it more? Or do they want to be like, hey, man, fuck this. We want the intelligence. How does that work? Right? So it's a tough call, right? So are they wanting the actual extraterrestrials and aliens? Because I don't think people are going to like what they have to say. I hate when I see on a program, a Discovery Channel or an Ancient Aliens or YouTube, where somebody's like, oh, the aliens made contact and they're trying to tell us, that we should all love and be light and, and get along and all this. No, aliens would never say that. That makes no sense, because an intelligent being would not say that.
That's kind of funny. I was reading this article, and it was written by like a physicist, a psychologist, and a few other people over extraterrestrials, and they asked the audience, actually, so the humans have a declaration of being part of the human family, and
Yes.
the question was, could existence of a superior form of life elsewhere in the universe make this proclamation untrue? And 70% or 72% of the answers was no. So they think that no matter what, they have some sort of say, no matter what, even if they were related to ants or cows comparatively.
So, okay, go back and explain that again.
The Declaration of Human Rights means that you as a human being have the right to do whatever is in the Declaration.
Sure.
And then the question was, if a superior life form came, would that maybe make a difference? And 72% of people said no.
Right. So if extraterrestrial intelligence showed up on Earth and said, hey, man, you guys don't get all these rights that you thought you had, people would be like, okay. Or would they be like, fuck that, we want to keep our rights?
No, they would be like, that whatever you say doesn't matter, because
Oh, yeah.
I'm an American, and
Yeah.
I got my Constitution.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at is, if aliens showed up tomorrow, let's say their extraterrestrial intelligence shows up and they're really good, right? And they want to help people. And they're like, hey, we're going to tell you guys how to live forever. We're going to tell you how to live long, healthy lives and do good. First of all, you have to live on a protein-based diet, okay? You need some foliage so you can eat some vegetables, and don't cook them. And you need to drink clean water that's moving, fluid moving water, okay? People would be like, fuck that, I like to put stuff on my food, and I like to cook it, and I like, whatever. And then they'd be like, hey, intelligence says you cannot eat cakes or cookies or things like that, which would really suck for me because I love cookies. But if they said that, people would be like, oh no, fuck that, I'll just go ahead and I'm gonna die eating my cookies. I
And
like
then
that.
the scary part is then the alien would have to be like, well, that's a useless animal, and they need to.
Yeah, right.
they need to be
So
put
that's
down.
when, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So let's say that the extraterrestrial intelligence is government, right?
Right.
Let's just say, like let's say we live in that world, right? Well, then the government would be like, well, we don't need these people because they won't listen. We tried to give them intelligence. We tried to teach them the way and the truth. And they were like, fuck that. We want to drink beer and eat fucking biscuits and gravy. And they're like, well, they got to go. And then people are like, that's not fair. You can't get rid of us for that. And then I don't know why I always go to this hillbilly voice when I do it. It's totally unfair. I don't mean anything by that because I think it's just a comedic thing. I like country people. Rural people are cool. But I think it's that thing where people are like, no, fuck that. I'm going to do what I want to do. It's comfortable and I don't care. But extraterrestrial intelligence says you can't do that.
Well, that goes back to
Jesus said that too. Jesus said you can't do
the
that.
conversation you had with the guy the other day. You were like, well, if I had to be in place or a rule of everything, let's just go by science.
Yeah. Let's go by science. So if no one knows and everybody thinks that they like certain things and I like doing this or I like doing that or I like this lifestyle, I like this sexual preference, I like eating this kind of food or what, we're at it, right? Who knows what's right and wrong, right? Let's go by the hydrogen atom. Let's go by that model. And then you'll know exactly what to do, what to believe in, what to do. And it's based everywhere in the universe, everywhere. Okay? So on this planet, positive, negative, electric, you understand what nutrients are, amino acids, waters, man, woman, child, how things work. We go based on this model. And then that model is God, right? And if you do that, you have a chance of living a halfway decent life, learning intelligent things, creating intelligent things, and living a long, healthy, not so bad life. So what I think has happened is it's been turned around to where people are like, oh man, if I can make them all sick, if I can make them all stupid, I can profit from this, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that seems to be a very malevolent, evil-natured extraterrestrial entity.
Yeah, they got people into eating rotten things even. It's like you're not doing anything correct. You're drinking fermented fruits. Why not you don't just drink regular fruit juice that has what you need in it? Or
Right.
people eat rotten food as a delicacy, which doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of friends, man, and I have so many friends who are like, oh, I'm gonna make a smoothie, right? But they're not really making a smoothie; they're making a milkshake, basically.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, it's got a bunch of chemicals in it they bought from China or India, the protein powders and stuff.
Supplements.
Yeah, supplements or whatever. But very rarely do I have any friends, and I go to the gym, and I have a lot of friends who go to the gym. Very rarely do I see somebody just go to the store and buy a bunch of fruit and just sit around the house eating an apple or eating some grapes and a banana. You know what I mean?
Peanuts. Right?
Yeah, they got to throw it in a thing, add some protein powders, some fake milks, all kinds of almond, whatever the hell that stuff is nowadays, oatmeal milk, and all this stuff, right? That's not really food. And there was a crazy thing. You know what I saw the other day? They're trying to push this new product. It's the most high protein milk that you can drink. It's made from cockroaches. I shit you not. This is a real thing. Yeah. And if they can do it, people will do it. I mean, right now people are drinking oat milk. They're basically down to peasant poverty level, right? Where they take a bunch of dried oats, crush it up into sawdust, powder, and add water. And go, here's some powdered water dust. And then market it and charge as much as they do for regular milk, and you're drinking powdered dust water.
Right.
Right. So it's a malevolent game they're playing. And then basically, to me, that's an intelligent life force that's tricking humans, right? So it seems to me that the extraterrestrial presence is already here. And what they may be searching for, the people are waiting on, is someone to come and save them from that, which would be a benevolent alien force, an extraterrestrial presence, where a brain comes, a mind that comes and says, hey man, listen bro, you've been tricked. This is what you should do. This is how the game is played, right? But I don't know. What do you think?
I still am on the hard time of how people have to adjust to that, or do they just be like, wow, that's so cool, and then pick up their bowl of mac and cheese again? Or is it ground shattering?
Well, I don't know. I think the big thing for me is I don't even know if they're going to believe it. I don't know if anybody will believe anything. So
what does that mean for the extraterrestrial?
Well, it's very frustrating. I think maybe the extraterrestrial presence is only for you. So let's say your own personal Messiah, right?
Right.
So that's the whole let no man deceive you. You have everybody's waiting on this Messiah guy to show up. Well, if a Messiah guy shows up, nobody's going to believe him, right? And nobody's going to like what he has to say, guaranteed, right? Because he's going to show up and say to do all these things the right way. And then people are going to be, well, that's just your way. That's not the right way. That's your opinion. Blah, blah, blah.
Can't you do any cool tricks?
Yeah, can't you do some walk on water or do something? Which is crazy to me. You know what's funny? Off topic. It's always funny to me that people are like, Jesus walked on water. I'm like, you do know it tells you in the book that's metaphor, and the water was the people. He walked on the people, right? Okay. So that to me is hilarious that people still say that, but whatever. It makes great imagery, But I don't think that people would believe it, and if they are waiting on someone else to do it, they're not going to believe him anyway, so that's not going to do any good, right? So what you're really waiting on is your own alien contact. Just you. And nobody's going to... Okay, let's say that you get contacted by aliens tonight while you're sleeping. An alien comes and talks to you, tells you the truth of the universe, right? You wake up tomorrow, you go out, you tell everybody you know. Not one person is going to believe you.
Which is sad, and you might think differently, but it's completely true.
Yeah, no one's going to believe you. And then, let's say Jesus comes to meet you. Middle of the night, Jesus knocks on the door, walks in, he's like, hey, it's me, Jesus. I'm here to tell you some cool stuff, right?
Right.
No one's going to believe you, period. So I think the purpose of the whole thing is that you have to find out what truth is and do it. And if you know that you are doing something that goes against nature or the forces of the earth, then you're doing something that's not true, right? So it's not intelligent. If you're doing something not math, science based, earth origin based, right? Negative, positives, water, carbon, vegetables, fruits, meats. If you're not doing these things, exercising, thinking, doing mathematics, creating, then you're probably doing something that's not natural and probably pretty much an abomination. So it's something that's going to cause you, heartache, strife, trouble in the end, for sure. So we call that sin, right? Like, let's say every day you wake up and eat cupcakes. And let's not talk shit on cupcakes because they're fucking amazing. But let's say you wake up every day and you eat cupcakes every day, right? Okay, that's a sin, all right? Because your body doesn't need that. And God did not create that. And God does not want you to have that. It's not good for you. So, but you can have it if you want it. You got free will. So eat the cupcake every day. That's great. And when you weigh 600 pounds and you can't breathe and you can't walk and then you die, well, you died for your sins.
Right.
And you were pretty much in hell the entire time. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory how this thing works out, and it's a struggle, and people don't want to do it. What I've encountered the most is that people are like, I don't want to hear that God stuff. I don't want to hear that Jesus stuff. I like talking about aliens. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's keep it on the alien thing, Let's say that the aliens come. They're dimensional beings, right? They're not going to come in a spaceship. Okay. First of all, they don't need to build a spaceship.
Well, yeah, that I was just thinking about this too. You brought about intelligence being weightless. Mm-hmm. In the Bible, it said that Jesus comes on a cloud. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cloud is the form of a thought, and then if you can picture, that was metaphor back in the day. So if your mind thinks of something, It's basically taking and forming a cloud, right? And that cloud, you can put your hands in it. It looks like you can touch it, but it's not there. Kind of like a thought, right?
Yeah.
And then as that thought gets more dense and more dense, it rains down. And that's why we use the word kings and queens reign over the people, right? They form that thought, it comes down, and then it nourishes the ground, it cleans things off, it purifies things, it makes things grow, and then you get something out of it. So, yeah, the thought. So you have this intelligent being or a Messiah figure that comes to you, right, from your mind, right? It's born of a virgin, which is your mind, the one thing no man can touch, right? A man can beat your body to death, but he can't touch your mind. So your mind is the virgin. The thought is born. You take that and process it, count it, and calculate it. Your brain, the fatty brain, actually materializes this, and then you act upon it. That energy is Jesus. The act of doing it is creating the product itself, matter, which is Christ. And then you live that. And if it didn't go along with what God wanted, your subconscious, then you sinned. And therefore you'll die at some point for that, right? If you did it correctly, you'll live out all those days. And when your body expires, your work will live on, right?
Yeah.
Your thoughts, your actions, your things that you did, the things you left behind, that. So that's the premise of religion. And people like to do this thing. I think people who are bad people, or what we consider bad-natured people, people who just want to do whatever they want to do, they will find a way to tear apart any kind of sacred scripture. I don't care if it's the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. I don't care what it is. They won't believe in it because they don't like the rules. So they'll find a way to tear it apart. But if you really looked at it like an intelligent being, right, like you're an extraterrestrial being, you'd be like, wow, it's a pretty good little handbook here, right?
Yeah.
I think, what did they used to call the Bible? It was like the book before you leaving Earth.
Yeah.
Something. What was it? Yeah, there's like a little
Give me one
anagram
second.
from it, right? But basically, if you're an intelligent being, you would look at any of the scriptures and be like, wow, this is all based on some math and science. These stories are good ways to live. It's good ways to fight against things that are bad. It's a good way to have hope in bad situations. There's literally nothing bad in any of the books, right? And people like to always focus on, oh, well, there's scriptures in there about stoning people and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, some people, man, I mean, you just can't keep stealing stuff every day without somebody stoning your fingers,
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you.
So there's a few different ones, but I think the one that we go by is basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I like that. So Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, but I like it. It's cute.
Yeah.
And
It works.
Yeah, it does work. It's actually pretty good. So if you took it and you took the book and you looked at it as you are every person in the book. They're all metaphors, right? And so, like, obviously there's not Abraham and Canaan and all these. These are all situations to describe the things that you will go through in your lifetime, right? And if you put yourself in the place of those people, each name in the book, Abraham, Sarai, all these
Would
things,
they
they
be
mean
like
a situation.
Personalities?
Yes,
of
they're
yourself?
yeah. Well, personalities, situations, sure. So, if you understand the Hebrew text, each name creates a situation. Each letter in the name is a situation. So, when you do that, you understand, oh, okay, I get it, right? Like Abraham was going to sacrifice his son Isaac, right? Okay. So what it showed, basically, here's a good metaphor, right? It's very deep. There's a lot of levels to the story, right? But one level to the story is that Abraham loved God so much, right? His belief system, his subconscious, his mind, right? What he believed in. He loved it so much that he would give up the one thing on earth that he loved the most, right? His own offspring, right? The thing that's going to live after him and carry on his name here on earth. He would get rid of that, which back in the day was like everything, okay? You didn't have a bank account with, a 401k.
Yeah. So
that your kid was your thing. And he's like, I would give up my own kid for this belief system I have and my subconscious and this God that I want to do, this Abrahamic religion thing, right? So what he was showing is that he loved that so much. And so in reality, right, that's what you need to do with your life. Let's say that you want to be a music composer, right? Well, you love this idea so much you would live and die for it. It's what you love. So buckle down and create music, right? And give up everything else that's going to get in the way of that. And just focus on that. And you will do great. Have faith that you'll do great.
And like the story, God loves you, so he said, you know what, you don't need to not have this in your life. I know that you little dude love that, so you can have it. It's cool. I see that you did that for me, so I'll let you keep that.
So he let Isaac live. He's like, okay, man, you were going to give up your own kid for this belief that you got going on here? You know what? Keep the kid. Hey, man, I made a goat show up. How cool is that, right? So you're like, hey, I want to be a musician. You're like, I'm going to give up everything in my life. And you're like, man, it really sucks. I really want to go on dates. I really want to go out with my friends. I want to go to a football game. So you give all that up and you just focus on your music. You give up everything for the music, right? And then one day, some girl shows up in a football jersey to your house and is like, hey, I really love your music. Can I hang out with you? And look, you ended up dating someone and you got to see the football thing or what. I'm making a really crazy analogy here, but God was like, hey man, I'm going to help you out. You gave up everything for this and you're doing really good. So throw you a little cookie in there, and that's how the world works. That's how reality works. It's just what happens. And I think people go, well, I believed in this and I believed in that and I had faith and nothing happened. All I can say is no, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't. So I know most people from experience, they want things and they'll try a little bit, but I've rarely seen someone who wakes up and eats and breathes and lives doing what they want to do and doing good, right? Trying to eat well, be healthy, focus only on what they're doing, block out the bad things. In today's society, it's hard to find someone who even doesn't do anything wrong. And I'm not saying wrong. I mean, even finding somebody who's not smoking pot or drinking beer or whatever, which is cool. You can do what you want, but the point is, if you're doing that, you're not focusing on what it was that you were wanting to do.
Yeah, but like we said before, though, they've made it nearly impossible for you to even be born to have the idea to not do that.
Right.
Your parents are drinking alcohol. No one you know is sober. Literally no one you know is sober. There's alcohol everywhere. Now there's booths selling pot. Oh yeah,
we went to that art fair today. There was just like
multiple
vendors in the middle of the street selling marijuana.
Which, like you said, we're not I mean, it's not good, but
I'm not against it.
Not saying you're a bad person for doing it, but you're not doing good when you're doing that.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it's
creating.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure it's enjoyable to sit back and eat some gummies or, smoke some weed, do whatever you do. I'm sure it feels great. But the point is you're not painting, creating music. You're not working on that new math problem. You're not writing that book you wanted to write because you're doing that instead, And so that's what I'm saying. And people are like, well, I give myself a break and then I go do it. I'm like, give yourself a break when you're done doing it.
Yeah, no, that's a crazy thing too, because if you think if we go back to the science alien thing, anyways, if you don't drink alcohol for a while and then you go to take a drink of alcohol, you're like, oh my god, what is that?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, it's terrible. It smells like hand sanitizer. It smells like chemicals. It is poison.
Yeah, it's poison.
And if you're smoking pot, it's the same thing. You're like, this tastes like dog shit.
Yeah, right.
This is
you have to condition yourself to do it.
And you're lighting something on fire and breathing it in and coughing, and then you're sick.
Yeah.
that after effect is being sick from it.
So what I'm saying is, what if an extraterrestrial showed up, an extraterrestrial intelligence, or a messiah figure showed up to save the world, right? To literally make everybody's life awesome, right? Would they believe it, and would they listen to it? What if he said, okay, you can't ingest alcohol, right? People would be like, that's cool, I'll just do this instead. What if he was like, hey, you can't do anything, you need to do this, it's what you're supposed to be doing, right? People would be like, hell no. Hell, get back on your spaceship and get out of here.
We talked about that too. The definition of happiness was learning something new. And then we talked to a lady, and she freaking said that's not her definition of happiness, because her definition is whatever she wants, because she can sit and stare at a wall and be perfectly happy.
Yeah, that was awesome. She said she was a school teacher.
Yeah.
And I said, artificial intelligence has now said they've given a definition to happiness. And it said the definition of happiness is learning something new.
Yeah.
Right? And she said, oh, I don't believe AI. I don't believe that. Because my definition of happiness is different. I can just sit there and do nothing all day long and be happy. And I was like, that's impossible. Well, first of all, you can't sit there doing nothing all day. Your brain thinks an average of 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000 a day. Okay? That's the average person, right? So you're doing something constantly, right?
Yeah.
If you're just sitting there, you're literally just doing nothing, right? So, but the important thing is, I want people to understand that if you really thought about the extraterrestrial intelligence, right? There's not going to be an extraterrestrial that's going to come here, a physical extraterrestrial. It's not going to happen. First of all, we're too far from any other planets, okay? Unless they can bend light and go through these light tunnels and all this weird shit that they like to talk about, which is not going to happen. So let's give up that ghost, all right? But what can happen is that intelligence can enter your brain. Now, let's say that there's already, you know, everything in the world there is to know. It's in your brain. Now, here's the example I like to make. People like Einstein, Stephen Hawking, you know, whatever, Niels Bohr, all these people. People are like, oh, they're so smart, they're a genius. Okay. Now, I have a question for that. Do they have the same brain you have? Absolutely. Okay. All humans have the same brains. Okay. So what is it that was different in those people?
The software.
The software. So they were taught different things, so they think about different things. If you're taught about video games and TikTok, that's all you're going to know, okay? If you are taught about physics and nutrition and life, and then that's what you're going to know, okay? And then if you have the right tools, you can think deeply about subjects, right? I think that people need to rethink what intelligent life is going to be. Intelligent life is going to happen within your body, okay? And so it's already there. You just have to unlock it.
Yeah.
You have to let it out of the box. So what society did was, what religions and governments did was, they created a box, okay? And then your brain stays in it.
Well,
your mind.
The crazy part about that too is, in all these like different science fiction or sci-fi movies, there's a constant of robots that have an alien inside of them when they're opened up.
Yeah, right.
So
Well, they're telling you.
Yeah.
They're telling you. And every sci-fi movie has a Rubik's Cube in it somewhere. You ever notice that? Every single one. Because it's that cube that's within your head. It's a mathematical box, right? And then every religion has a cube, right? So what that is the intelligence is already in you. It's in every single human being, right? Their goal is to make sure that you can't access it or use it. And one of the ways they do that is through filling your brain full of stupid information, right? Movies and music and books, right? And then the other one is nutrition, right? Nutrition and medications, that any kind of like stuff like that can hinder your ability to think straight. Keeping you busy with games, right? Games is a big one, okay? And so what they do is anytime they can do that, they get you focused on a belief system, right? And then you don't focus on yourself or the intelligence that's in you.
Okay, so I have a kind of a question then. So for someone who's raised in a house with a regular family, they have a stay-at-home mom that watches TV all day, dad goes to work at a regular salary job, and then you're raised by the school, or your mom goes to work and you're just raised by the school system, which is to do absolutely nothing but turn you into a cow.
Sure.
And then you hear this, what are you supposed to do? Because your head is so filled with shit. How are you supposed to escape?
So I've thought long and hard about this one. I think you got to take steps. You can't just do it overnight, okay? You make a plan. You say, okay, I'm going to purge myself, right?
Right.
So we do the purge, right? Okay, so you go in and get all toxins out of your body. And by toxins, I mean sugars, any obviously toxins. So you need to eat.
Literally toxins.
Yeah. You need to eat meat, vegetables, and water, okay? You need this, okay? Some fatty oils, stuff like that. You just need to eat healthy. Healthy does not include anything that is man-made. If it's bread, noodles, rice, if it comes in a package, any of that stuff, you do not need it. You need chicken, fish, meat, vegetables, fruit, water.
Produce section.
And very little fruit. Fruit is nothing but sugar. So most people don't know that. So just eat food. And then take your ass on your 2 biped legs outside and walk. And you don't have to go walk with friends and run your mouth or put your earbuds in. Just go walk. And just keep walking at a fast pace until your brain starts thinking. And do that every single day. You'll have to take breaks because you'll have to go to work. You'll have to go to bed. You'll have to come home and do laundry, make dinner, do things, right? But when you come home, don't turn on the TV. How about this? Turn everything off in the house and sit in the quiet. And if you get bored, get up, put your tennis shoes on, and go walk. And keep walking. That's what we do. We're nomadic bipeds. So eat good food, drink good water, get a clear head. You're going to purge your body of poisons. You're going to purge your brain of poisons, right?
Yeah.
And go walk, all right?
Yeah.
And try to think about the world. Try to think about yourself. Try to think about the sun, the moon, the plants, you, the birds. How do those animals act, right? And think about this. You have all of the knowledge of the universe in your brain, okay? Why are you not accessing it? And then that's what I believe is when you will make alien contact. That's when I believe that you will see a Messiah figure, is when you start to realize who you are and what you are and how great you can be.
So that will be your baptism and awakening?
Yeah, that's your baptism. You're going to drown yourself and then come back, metaphorically, and yeah, start over, man.
What was that Bible where he said he was fasting and praying for 30 days, 20 days, and then he came back and his...
And what?
He came back and he was given whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
It was a king, and he did that. You were reading, it was in 2 Kings.
Yeah.
Habakkuk.
Yeah. For 20... Was
20
it 21 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fasted for 21 days, and after that 21 days, everything that he had thought of came true. And most people don't understand that because they can't fast that long. And fasting, I think there's a lot of things that have been distracted in this world, like fasting, right? People go, oh, I'm going to fast. I'm not going to eat. You cannot do that. That is 100% ridiculous, okay? What fasting is doing without all the things in life that you want, all right? While you fast, you're going to need water. You're going to need a little food. Without food, you know as well as I do, you can't think straight. You get a little crazy. I get real crazy. I get hangry.
Busy
So
and
yeah.
grouchy.
You're going to go without all kinds of external stimulus: movies, music, YouTube, phone. You know, I started doing this thing maybe, I don't know, a year or two ago. I don't even carry my phone. I don't even use my phone. I use it at the gym for music. And other than that, I don't have it, you know? And I don't need it. I watch people all day long checking their phone constantly, and I know them. And I'm like, what are you checking your phone for? I mean, nobody's calling you, man. You know, it's not a big deal. You don't need anything, you know?
The adult binky.
Yeah, it's the adult binky, you know? And just start thinking about those things. You want to make contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, put the phone down, man. You know? Contact yourself. Contact your mind.
Yeah, we've almost done an experiment on accident with ourselves using the iPad. We never carry our phones ever. We haven't. We just work and then maybe in the morning do it to contact customers. But then recently, working on the computer has been a thing with this company we've been working on. After the day is over, I feel like my brain is jello.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like a crazy insane asylum ass person.
Yeah, well, we have to sit down and do a lot of social media stuff or work or upload videos or, you know, podcasts or whatever we do. And after, you know, a couple hours of being on this thing, man, my brain is, mashed potatoes.
And then I can't imagine people that are on it from when they wake up to going to sleep watching it. Because after just a few months of not doing that, I felt crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like drugs.
Yeah.
You gotta put it down, man. And I think people, if they can just focus on what I said, try to eat well, try to drink water, try to walk. Man, that is the big thing. Don't go run, don't go to the exercise, go do, you know, you don't got to go into this whole thing. If you do, that's great. Hell yeah, man, do it. Become an athlete, do it. You know, run every day, work out every day, eat great every day. Oh, you'll feel so amazing. But I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, for the average person, just walk.
Yeah.
Walk. When you get off work, take a shower, put on some tennis shoes, drink some water, maybe eat some food, and go walk. And walk until the sun goes down. And then go to bed. There's nothing to do after the sun goes down. There's nothing to do. Go to bed. And think, right? And think good, positive things before you go to bed. When you go to bed, you're basically dying. You're unconscious, right? Well, your subconscious is working, but you're unconscious, you're asleep, and your subconscious is putting together the universe for the next day. When you wake up, it's a new day. You're born again. And you know that the day before you did good things, so now you're on a fresh start. And if you do that every day for a long period of time, you will literally feel like a different person. You'll feel like there's an entity that is in you that's starting to wake up, right? So think about those things. I think, man, we went way over our time today, and hope everybody digs it. The Second Coming podcast is amazing. We're having the most fun ever doing this thing. And thanks for everybody who Instagrams us and sends us cool messages. We love you guys. You're fucking awesome.
You're all badass.
Yep, you are all badass, man. And much love to everybody. Peace and chicken grease.
Hope you found some enlightenment.
Some
alien action.
Yeah, some alien action, man. Find your little spaceship in your brain and do it. So fare thee well.
Fare thee well.